right, Alex, another episode of Opt-in. We've got 5 minutes on the clock, and today I want to talk about personal goal setting. Something that every SDR should be doing next to the goals put in place by their managers and leadership, making sure that they're on track, not just for whatever it is they're doing at the moment, but in their career overall. So talk to me about what you've done in your time as a working professional on the goal setting side of things, and some advice for SDRs out there.
Yeah, it's definitely an important thing that I think, especially in the SDR role, right when you're starting, can be hard to think about, right? You're so focused on like, this is my job now, I have to work 40 hours a week, how many phone, right? You're very, very focused on like doing what your manager tells you. And I think you did lay out, there's two different sides to it, right? There's things in the job, those personal goals you should set, and then sort of career goals outside of that. So diving into the first part, I think that's a little easier, and you probably do this a little sooner than maybe some of the longer term goal setting once you're in the role and you sort of feel out where you want to take your SDR career, like what direction. But I think personal goal setting on a more micro level is something that a lot of SDRs really can overlook, and it's an easy thing to do because your manager is giving you these goals, right? You have a quota to hit, you have an activities numbers, you have all these different metrics you're looking at for what you're doing, and your manager has to say like, okay, this one needs to be better, here's how you do it. And that's their job, and if they're doing a good job at that, that's great. But what the best SDRs will do that I've noticed is they'll leave that meeting and go, okay, here's my goal, here's how my manager said I'm going to do it. Let me break this down a little bit further and see, how many dials an hour do I have to make? Like, how do I make these goals fit within my personal framework and sort of structure of a workday? And I think that goes a long way towards not only accomplishing those goals, but you avoid things like feeling overwhelmed or burnt out from sort of the burden that you might feel placed on you when you can break it up into even smaller bits and say like, okay, this is today, this is tomorrow, this I can handle 1 day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 afternoon at a time, something like that.
Yeah, and I think to your point about sort of the second track that SDRs take when it comes to maybe looking at further along their career type goals, they go hand in hand with those micro goals because realistically they impact one another. If I leave that meeting with my manager and I'm expected to have 60 dials that day, and I've worked it out so that I can spend an hour and make 20 dials, whatever it might be, that's 3 hours of my day, theoretically, in a perfect day that I spend making dials. Now I know that I have X amount of hours available to me for upskilling or development or testing out new messaging or trying out some marketing or customer success activities, whatever it might be. Knowing how to, and this kind of goes back to time management, but like these personal goals really impact how you're able to effectively break your day up in a way that makes the most sense for you so that you're hitting the goals put in front of you, you're making sure that you're doing it on your time, and you're working towards something as sort of a larger picture at the end of it. I think that they just kind of work off of one another like that.
That was such a smooth segue into the other, personal goal setting side of things, the long-term stuff. I barely even noticed. You almost snuck it right by. But okay. But yeah, it does, right, give you that time, because the other thing is when you're an SDR, you can often, sometimes you get to the end of the day, you're like, where did it go? I was busy all day. Sometimes you're like, all right, got my dials done in the afternoon, or by the afternoon, no one was picking up. What do I do now? I guess I'll just like, I don't know, go play Minecraft. Don't do that. But like, right, go on Twitter, like check out my phone, sort of relax for the rest of the day. When in reality, that time can still be spent doing stuff that's constructive or really important to your own growth. But if you don't have those maybe longer term goals, like, oh, I should set up some time with the marketing manager here and learn what he does on a daily basis. Reach out to the customer success team and look at what they're doing. Sort of, I think earlier on, just exploring different options, and then from there being able to take those, again, continuing to create goals. It's not like you hit it and then you're done. Those are, every time you hit a goal, you have to sort of set the next one. But being able to know what those goals are a really easy way to, when you do have, right, that free time or that downtime in your day, make something useful out of them and really get a productive day done, even when maybe on the work, the sort of day-to-day SDR side of stuff didn't go as well that day.
Yeah, I think kind of summing that up, really what it takes is intention. Like if you're intentional about what you're doing and why you're doing it, knowing that it's tied to a specific long-term or even short-term goal, you're going to end the day feeling like you've accomplished something rather than having that like, oh shit moment of like 9 hours went by, I didn't really do anything today and it's over. Like that's
Right.
the last thing you want to do as an SDR. So having it tied to something always is crucial in making sure that like you feel accomplished every day.
All right, AJ, 15 seconds. Tell everybody about opt-in.
Opt-in, quick 5-ish minute videos, actionable sales development tips, minimal fluff. You can find us on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on our Instagram, and on the website, demanddrive.com.
You missed the B-roll we talked about. To get that, you have to be part of our Patreon. $9.99 a month. You get all the background.
You get literally all the bullshit that we talk about.
You joke, but I do legitimately think that someone would pay like $1 a month for that.
To just hear us banter?
Yeah.
But then they have that,
I think
you
too
know?
highly of us.
I think you do. Would you pay $1 a month?
$1, yeah, I can spare $12. That's nothing, you know. If it was $5, no.